Mr. Puri, would you say that there is also a problem of education in the sense of the leadership itself? We're talking about an $80 billion opportunity sitting here. We are talking about perhaps something that you can't really oppose also politically. You have 3.7% of GDP being invested right now in education. Malaysia does more, Brazil does more. Do our politicians need to take this a lot more seriously also?
Before I answer that, I just like to maybe play journalist a little bit. The minister talked about privatization of education, and that profit is not a dirty word. But actually in education, profit is a dirty word. You cannot make a profit legally. All educational institutions have to be trusts. They make surpluses. In place like Delhi, we run a school. There are all kinds of regulations where you can't even make a surplus more than 10%. You can't increase your fees. You have quotas. All kinds of regulations which actually strangulates private education. My question is this: if you looked at a situation where, forget about what happens in America or what happens in England, that if you genuinely want to privatize education, then you must allow people to make a profit and declare a profit. Otherwise, what happens is, like in every part of this economy, distortions take place. People are not allowed to make profits. They do things underhand. Malpractices take place. The government is not able to regulate it. So you get everything reduced to mediocrity. Why, just like in medicine, you have government hospitals, you have private hospitals. Private hospitals provide care on a quota system, perhaps whether they do it properly or not, that's a government supervision which has to be done. But they provide medical care to people who pay whatever the market rate is, and if the government puts quotas, they do that too. Number one. Number two, there are different levels of medical care, right? So the market decides who pays what and what kind of quality do I get. Government can put, definitely what I agree with you is that they should put standards, regulations, great supervision, make sure malpractices don't take place, transparency is there, but let the private sector charge. And just like in medicine. And why, number two, why can't the government concentrate on fixing its government schools? Instead of concentrating its efforts on basically strangulating private education. I think that there has to be some clarity in thinking in that.
Let me try and respond there. First of all, when you talk of profit and I talk of profit, obviously we think somewhat differently. When you talk of profit, you mean to say a company. A company.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not my concept of. No. Let me respond. A company can set up a school. It may be listed in the stock market. It can earn profit and give that profit to the shareholders. That's what your definition of profit is. My definition of profit is a trust can set up a school. It can make money. It can make 15% on its return, 20% on its return. But it must plow back that money into the institution. Where's
the incentive then?
Sorry?
Where's the incentive?
Why would an entrepreneur invest?
Because people all over the world have taken education forward like that. That means how has education grown in the United States, Japan, anywhere else in the world, Europe in the world? This is the methodology that they have adopted. No companies have been allowed to set up schools in the United States or in Europe. 95% of all education is done through trusts. So let's be practical. Let's do what we can do, right?
Okay.
And what's the harm? Yes, you're right. The school sector is over-regulated. I accept that fact. It should not be over-regulated. It should be allowed to mushroom in the way that it wishes. But you're absolutely right. Our concentration should be in the public school system, which is why we have set about 2,31,000 crores in the 11th plan. Never in the history of this country has that kind of money been set apart for the public school system. And now teachers are getting recruited. Those ad hoc teachers are vanishing. People with no qualifications are all vanishing because we've set a law. And now no teacher can teach unless he passes the TET exam, the teacher eligibility test, which is a standard test set up by the country, by us. So no teachers who don't have qualifications will get into the system. They'll have to pass the test. The quality will improve. Basic infrastructure will have to be provided. That is also set apart. So all these changes have taken place, but it will take 5, 7, 8 years, 10 years to see the public school system improve.
Okay.
So let's not give up hope. And let's not say the government is not doing nothing about the public system. Well, you don't need 5-star schools in this country. You need basic good teachers, basic education for ordinary people in our country so that they can be empowered. You cannot compare a hospital to a school.